But this is something I never expected to see. A leverless controller by 8BitDo. If you know anything about retro gaming, you've probably heard of 8BitDo before. They've spent years building a reputation on high quality, reliable controllers with a nostalgic flair. So the fact that they are stepping into the all-button controller scene is kind of a big deal. And they already have an arcade stick as part of their catalogue that is very well loved. But do they understand what it takes to create a good leverless controller? Are they going to capture that magic again? Or is this just a work of style over substance? Let's take a closer look and find out together. I just have to quickly say thank you to 8BitDo for sending this over to me for the purpose of this review. I do get to keep it, but no money exchange hands and all opinions are my own. So you might have no idea what a leverless controller is, but you're on the 8BitDo algorithm and you were fed this video. Here's the gist. Leverless controllers are designed as an alternative to arcade sticks. Whilst an arcade stick has a lever, their leverless siblings use buttons for directional inputs. People consider this alternative for their precision, ergonomics, and portability features. Now, what makes the 8BitDo controller different to all of the others? Well, here are the key features. It's compatible with Switch, Switch 2, and PC. There is a separate Xbox model, which looks sick, but who even plays that console anymore? Unfortunately, this did not work on the PS5 through a Brook Wingman FGC 1 or 2 for me, so I'm going to say now that the controller is not compatible, but please feel free to correct me in the comments if you figure out how to get this working with the PS5. It has 3 modes of connectivity, that's USB, Bluetooth, and 2.4 GHz via the USB dongle. Wireless modes used to be a bit of a slur when it came to response times and reliability, especially for competitive gaming. But the technology has come a long way, and I would say the convenience outweighs any latency concerns when it comes to daily play, like if you wanted a quick labbing session or to just jump on for a set or two. If you are worried about disconnecting during a tournament, just plug it in like we used to do in the olden day times. There aren't many wireless leverless controllers readily available off the shelf. I reviewed one early last year, but I wouldn't recommend that one because, well, it wasn't very good. So make no mistake, wireless features on a controller of this quality is a biggie. This is a 16 button controller because 12 buttons is so 2023. The extra 4 will allow players to map things in easier reach. You might want heavy punch and kick mapped here for your thumb or medium punch and kick up here for the index, just as an example. 8BitDo decided to go for bean-shaped caps with these, so the surface is spread out. Again, this should help with reach, and it also means more of the button can sit closer to the main clusters. I'm sure they chose this shape for practical reasons and not just because it kind of looks like the Super Nintendo logo. Now let's dive in and look at the details. It has a beautiful, easy clean tempered glass panel with a smoky, transparent finish. It feels thick and soft and allows the dual mode labeling to shine through. You can't art mod this, but that's not a huge loss since the controller is already good looking with its signature 8BitDo design language. The function row has all the essentials. It's got the mode switch to go between Nintendo's Switch and PC. We've got a tournament lock that turns off everything up here so you don't accidentally disqualify yourself in a match. This is the pair button for Bluetooth and 2.4 GHz modes. A star button used to change the key binding for these bean buttons. So if you hold your bean, hold a button you want to mirror, and then press the star button all at the same time, the bean will now do the same thing as that button. Moving on, we have the home button, and finally we have the L3 and R3 buttons, which are great for labbing because we need these to set and reset our dummy recordings. And of course we have select and start. Let's flip this on its front and take a look at what it's packing around the back. Feast your eyes on this gorgeous, full-sized rubber base. This thing feels superb. I've had it on my bare legs and it's nice and soft, so it's a great feature for lap players and desk players. I just love the 3D details here. You can spot some Hadoukens, Yoga Flames, and even some weird SNK style inputs in there. Lovely stuff. On the corners we have magnetized feet for angle adjustment. These are made of metal and have a thin strip of rubber on them too. Again, great details. We have the slot for the 2.4 GHz dongle. Perfect. If you haven't seen one of 8BitDo's dongles before, enjoy the sight of it right now. It is quite light and some might even say flimsy, but I think the quality is fine and it's not going to cause any problems unless you curb stomp it for whatever reason. Maybe you don't like the color. And finally, let's not forget the chamfering on all 4 sides. This is going to make it very pleasant to grip and lift. And you'll need a good grip because it's deceptively heavy. which I really like as a lap player because I don't want it shifting around as I slam buttons. The curves and slopes in general are all very well engineered. There's nothing that's going to nick or scratch you, which is a nice experience for the hands as well as the eyes. The same goes for the overall aesthetics. They're so good. It's not just the curves I mentioned earlier, but there are shapes, layers, depth, and colors to enjoy all over the place. It's a pleasurable sight from any angle. The design language and attention to detail is spot on. And if you dig retro style stuff, you'll love this. Okay, so I've been glazing the quality pretty hard, but it's not absolutely flawless. My review unit, which fully looks like a retail unit, has some minor faults in the glass panel. This is only visible if I look for it in the correct light, and it's neither a problem or a bother. But because this is a review, I have to mention these things. So expect high quality, but don't expect absolute perfection. Also, on the topic of flawlessness, as nice as these grooves look, sweaty-handed people might find it will fill up with gunk at some point. So if that happens, I hope you've got the right tools to clean up your nastiness. The 8BitDo Leverless comes equipped with clicky switches, and these are listed as KO wizards, although I've never seen wizards in white, but I'm going to trust their claims. Any Chalk V2 low profile switches will work, so in my sound test you will hear the shadow huntings for a comparison. These ones are linear and have a lower travel. Link in the description. The button caps can't be swapped out unless you find a specialist Etsy store willing to 3D print them. These are proprietary caps with a longer stem and a square gate that allows the caps to travel the optimal distance. As you can see here, my Hot 42 caps, which follow a standardized specification, do not work correctly. The beam caps are quite interesting under the hood. They use stabilizers to help with consistency and balance. If you're a fan of mechanical keyboards, you'll be familiar with this approach already. These caps can be swapped out with the included blank caps if you prefer less buttons in your setup. This is compatible with 8BitDo's Ultimate Software V2, and you'll need to download that if you want to change button mappings, set up macros, and assign your preferred SOCD mode. SOCD modes are there to ensure you can comply with tournament regulations, and which one you use depends on which game you play and which tournament you're attending. If that doesn't make any sense to you, don't worry. It's something that most people don't even have to think about. Here is an example of the macro setting in action. So after clicking create a new macro, I'm going to call this one Cami. And then I'm going to start the recording and put in the DP motion. I'm going to stop that recording and then click on save at the bottom. And we also have to click on the 3 dots and activate it. And now that P1 button is highlighted as the Cami macro. And in game, I'm just going to press the button once. And there you have it. I have a DP with 1 button. And yes, that's pretty much cheating. It's basically modern controls on steroids. The easiest controllers to compare this to are the Hot 42s. The important base features are all there, and your choice will come down to preference of size, materials, and modability. Here I have the M Ultra. This is a good example of smaller cap size and closer spacing. My hands are 7.5 times 3.5 inches, and for those dimensions, the spacing on the Ultra is absolute perfection. The Ultra is also built well, and it's obvious that the aesthetics are in 2 opposite ends of the spectrum. This one is quite minimal, and the 8BitDo is very playful, softer, and more relaxed. Hot 42 controllers at this point in time are not wireless, and there have been reports of USB failures. And while some models offer 2 sockets for a failsafe, the 8BitDo shouldn't ever have problems due to the wireless options. This is the Razer Kitsune. You can find this brand new for about £250. It has a similar spacing and cap size, but doesn't have the extra 4 buttons. That's not a good or bad thing, it's completely down to preference. The Razer Kitsune is not wireless, so for £250 you're not getting as much bang for your buck compared to the £90 8BitDo. If you're a PC only gamer and considering one of the two, pick the 8BitDo. I have full reviews for the Kitsune and M Ultra on my channel, so check those out at the end of this video if you want to see those. The 8BitDo Leverless is a good controller. That is impossible to deny. What you'll get is a complete product that you can enjoy exactly as the designers intended. We can hot swap the switches, but everything else stays the same. You can think of that as a less is more approach because you don't have to consider what keycaps you want or what kind of art to put on it. It just is what it is. The overall playing experience is very good, but for me it isn't the best because I prefer a closer spacing and less clack. But a lot of people out there will be perfectly fine with this, especially if they're used to bigger arcade style buttons. And the other qualities like the build and wireless stuff is a huge draw. The convenience of wirelessness shouldn't be underestimated because setting up quickly means that you're likely to play more often, and playing more often means you can hit your 10,000 hours of mastery sooner. So if you're on PC or Switch 1, Switch 2, I recommend it to you, especially if you're a newcomer. It's great value, an easy choice, and definitely worth the asking price of £90 or dollars. Now how about seasoned collectors and Leverless maestros? If you're an 8BitDo completionist, go for it. It looks great, it's well built, and you won't be disappointed to have it displayed on your shelf. If you're familiar with these kinds of controllers already, you only need to consider this one if you like the spacing of the Kitsune and Hot 42 T16, and you want that ultra rare wireless feature. Thank you all so much for joining me for today's video. Please use my links if you're interested in this controller. It does help the channel massively. Hit the subscribe button and don't forget to join me for my next video. We're going to be looking at something very special and you don't want to miss that one.